Well, for 75 years, this province has boasted the absence of rats. The control program has been around since 1950 when rats were declared a pest and an agricultural threat. Joining us this morning is Darcie Deangelo, who's an anthropologist at the University of Alberta, has a book coming out next year on human and rat relations, which is fascinating. Darcie, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're looking at interprovincial relations when it comes to rats right now. What do you think of Alberta's approach?
Well, Alberta's approach has been really effective. There's no rats or no residential rat populations in Alberta. Partly that's due to the fact that we saw them coming in the 1940s, and so we were able to prevent them from crossing the border with an official legal status of pest species, and then also making sure that we set up the Alberta Rat Control Program.
So from the outside looking in from the public, it appears to us that they just stop at the border. But you're looking at BC's rat control program, how it works with Alberta. How does this actually work?
So Alberta and BC have very different needs, right? In British Columbia, there's plenty of rats, and they're all residential. There's two main species, the black rat and the Norway rat. And they, because BC is on the coast, they have a lot of black rats coming in from the coast, and they also had Norway rats coming in from the coast. And while they're an invasive species, they're already residential in BC. So there's new programs to see how you can kind of cohabitate or find evidence-based practices to manage the rats. Whereas in Alberta, the goal is to make sure they stay out. So because there's no residential rats, it's important. It's a completely different set of needs. So we need to make sure that people are aware of what rats look like, that they report rats when they see them, and that there's a different kind of mode of science communication when it comes to rodent management.
So climate change is impacting a lot of different things. Is this going to impact rats and their migration as well?
Yeah, unfortunately, climate change is increasing all pest residential radius. So you have ticks, for example, are also coming into the province, which is new. The warming climate makes different pest species have different kinds of mating patterns and usually more successful mating patterns and propagation. So you have this kind of problem with rats being able to move up. Alberta has an advantage in that it's so far north, and it has good cold snaps to keep them away. And the problem is, as things increase warmth, and also as the cities get larger and more people come into the province from outside because people are moving into the province, and the industrial centers are getting larger, you have the possibility of rats coming in. So climate change is a real factor when it comes to all pest species.
So what would your message be to Albertans going forward? Is this a realistic goal to remain rat-free?
Well, I mean, we have to make sure that we're letting the Alberta Rat Control Program know if we see a rat. We have to check our RVs as they come across the border from BC, make sure there's no rats coming in. But the biggest thing is waste management. The biggest thing for rats and all pest species is making sure that we're handling waste management properly, that we make sure our garbage is contained, and that we are throwing things away and not throwing things in the street, and just be aware of rats. It is realistic. We can keep them out, but I have spoken to some pest managers who think that that's impossible.
Okay, well, there we go. A rat-free Alberta can continue, but it takes all of us. Darcie, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight this morning. You can find more on her work and her classes by visiting the University of Alberta's website.